Hi everyone, and welcome from me and Millie. She's just jumped up on my lap. You might just see her there on camera. Something she's been doing recently, some of you might have noticed. She does it a lot actually when I'm preparing in here. She seems to enjoy sort of coming up on my lap for a little bit, and then she usually jumps down, goes elsewhere. So you might hear her purring as well. She's just here on my lap. So welcome everyone, welcome if you're new, and if you're a return subscriber, I'd just like to say thank you so much for your views and support. Thank you also to those who've sent donations via Super Thanks, Coffees and PayPal. It's very much appreciated and helps me keep the channel going. Okay, wow, okay, Millie wants to play with the flowers there. That's what she was doing. She loves chewing things, as a lot of you will know cats like doing. She doesn't usually do that. She'll sometimes knock for cards as well, but she's quite curious this morning. If any of you would like to show your support further, by the way, then you can do so by joining my new Patreon page, where I do extra content that's not available here on YouTube. So it's readings, written blogs, guided meditation, all stuff focused on spiritual guidance. So if you're interested, head on over there. The link is in the description box and the pinned comment. Thank you to those who've joined, very much appreciated, and it does support me as a creator so I can keep bringing you what you enjoy, if you enjoy it. Okay, sorry everyone, it's just Millie. She's just making me laugh the way she's very restless this morning. You've probably seen her a few times just poking her head up on camera as well. So anyway, this reading, I have to thank first of all a member of my channel, Sylvia Manuela, who wrote a comment in my last predictions reading saying about what's happening in Australia. So she said that as from December of this year, people will need ID in order to use social media in Australia, so digital ID. New internet ID laws coming into place. So thank you for that comment, because it got me searching a little bit just to see what's going on, and I thought I'd do a reading on it, because obviously I do also do country specific, just to make it clear. If it says global predictions, then that's the world, it's not a specific country. It's like something I'm seeing happening all over. Whereas country specific will hone in on something in particular, which is what I'd like to do in this reading. So I had a quick read online, and it was saying about digital ID to access government portals, financial institutions, for online purchases. That was the main thing, and apparently social media as well. Now, what do we all think about that? What do we think is the real reason behind it? I think there's been something about keeping children safe has been mentioned. But what about ID theft and fraud? Which is something I mentioned in my predictions reading when I said about the chip. I can really see that happening. So I think it's a bit risky, actually, especially when it's online. Anything can be intercepted, And is it to control and monitor citizens? Let's just ask that question. Infringe on personal freedom. Sorry. It sounds like China, because obviously China already has that system. The social credit system, everyone is monitored in terms of what they do. There's cameras everywhere. So are we moving in that direction? That's right, it said something about ID needed for Google and Microsoft accounts from December, as was mentioned. So yeah, what's the agenda? What do you all think? I think it's the start of digital surveillance of every citizen, like I was saying about China. And I do want to say, if you're viewing from another country, watch Australia. Because what I feel that they're doing, and they've done since the pandemic time, is they're kind of using it as a testing ground, seeing what the response is from people in Australia first. Maybe a few other countries, UK for certain things as well, I feel. But yeah, I just feel this is like the start. So, as I said, keep your eyes on Australia. Let's ask now the cards, though, about who's behind it and the agenda. So, I mean, who's behind it? I feel it's the dark forces trying to gain control. Watch that reading if you haven't seen it about the chips that I feel coming. This could very well lead in that direction, you know, where say there is ID theft and fraud, they might say, oh, it's too risky, now we need, you know, like a personal ID, like a fingerprint for people. So, you know, it cannot be replicated. Something like that is what I'm now seeing happening. Yeah, now I read cards energetically, if any of you are wondering, because I channel and I read the energy. But I'm just getting this hidden energy here coming through, because I was asking who's behind this. We do have an energy that's come through, King of Wands. Looks a bit like an emperor. You know, I often talk about the emperor behind the scenes that makes these things happen. I'm getting a dark energy with this card. Because actually what we can see in this card are like some dark spirits. This can depict, you know, nightmares, anxiety. But that's what this energy is doing. They're gradually manipulating society. They manipulate these dark energies to make people think certain things. This might sound far out, but I'm going to do another reading on this, actually, in the future, about certain organisations and the energies around them, which I feel is this. So basically, workers there and people that use their products gradually get manipulated in the mind. And this is what they want as well, because this card can speak of anxiety. They want people to feel anxious, you know, because they're so addicted to social media. For example, they need their bank to pay, you know. So what are they going to do? I see it reaching a point where, you know, people are cornered because you need all these things. Well, do you need social media? Something that came to me before this reading was the internet, social media. Why do you think that all came about? Why was it implemented? It was because this is the end goal. Get people hooked on something. They can't stay away from it. They need it so much that when you bring something in that is like a gate, So you can't get into your social media unless you acquiesce and say, okay, sure, here's all my details, here's my ID, here's my soul. Unless you do that, you can't access it. And for those who are very addicted to their phones and social media, watch out. So, you know, now's the time to disconnect, everyone. Get out into nature and also go within and connect with Source and what comes through to you channeled, you know, which is what I do. Yes, I'm getting a manipulative energy anyway behind the scenes coming through here for Australia. So that's obviously what we're looking at. I'm just being guided to the Two of Pentacles with the infinity symbol, like showing me the different things that are connected, cycles that are connected. So this is sort of about things that have been happening in the past playing out in the present. It's like, yeah, it's repeating, but it grows each time, if that makes sense. So let's get a little bit more on what Spirit wants to tell us about the agenda here. I've said what I feel it is. Let us know what you feel it is. Are you in Australia, or how do you feel about this? Well, that's really interesting. Sorry everyone, I'm getting an itchy nose, which means I'm channeling. I get this in my readings because I don't just read cards, I actually channel from Spirit. But the first card says it all. If you know tarot, this is about investment, money, power, control. One pentacle. So is this, you know, one global currency, which has come out in my previous readings. We've even got another king. So, you know, again, the king on the throne here, power, self-explanatory with that one. Now, the Hierophant is about, you know what's coming through to me? I mean, I was thinking values, first of all. But I'm getting rituals with this one. See, we've got the moon and the sun, dark and light. So there's, as I said about the spirits before, there's something spiritual about this, because this is a very spiritual energy, the Hierophant, but not in a good way with these kings around it. They want control over people's beliefs, rituals, things they do, is what I mean by that, traditions. Being in control, basically. With the, yes, of the dark and light, the opposing forces here. It's a spiritual battle playing out in Australia right now. Which way do you go? Wow, I'm channeling a very heavy energy now as well. And a blocked heart chakra. So I'm picking up on some energies who might be viewing, who are feeling quite heavy. about this, you might be feeling in this energy, the bottom of the deck, the Five of Cups. Feeling at a loss, like if you don't agree, you feel like you lose out, you feel you're excluded. Well, watch the reading I did on the predictions with the chip. That's the end goal, to exclude energies who don't do it. They're going to feel like they're left out. You know, and in that anxious energy. So that's how some might be feeling right now. Sending you all a hug. But your guidance with the Hierophant is to connect with trusted sources, sacred wisdom, the divine, as I was saying before. So follow that guidance, you know, don't be too swayed, make sure you're aligned with your decisions. I'm not here to sway anyone, I'm just sort of guiding. But that path to divine understanding will bring you the wisdom, spiritual wisdom of the Hierophant. This card is also about conformity. So you see, that's what they want, that's their agenda. Conformity, control has come out in the cards. Plain and simple, you know, I'm not sort of just saying this, but I'm feeling it obviously as well. And with that Five of Cups, Nine of Swords, and I'm feeling the heavy energy again. What do people do? This, I feel, is where we need these new small communities to start coming in that I have predicted people will do. So, you know, starting alternatives, alternative platforms out there that are free. For example, you know, not governed, not as restrictive. But yeah, obviously other things like government portals, what do you do when the government controls it all? So you've got there the Hierophant. So people are going to feel stuck, like in terms of work. But again, there's always a way. So if you tap into this spiritual wisdom, you could look at other ways that you can do things. There's always a way. You might find that if you meditate, you get answers, you get ideas come to you in terms of what you could do if you don't want to conform, because you don't have to, by the way. Who has the right to tell you, you have to do this? You know, people are going to say the government. Okay, who's behind the government? Just think about that for a moment. Are there alarm bells ringing in your soul? Is what I'm just being guided to say. You know, if you're in Australia, for example, now is the time to do something, and whatever that might be, you know, joining a movement. For example, looking at alternative ways, because I feel if you get to a stage where you're being told what you have to do and something doesn't sit right, then there's a sign there for you, possibly in terms of how things are going to go in the future. And I believe, instead about watching Australia, I believe that other countries are going to follow in the future with this as well. So what do the rest of us feel that we would do? We need alternatives, don't we? People who are strong can stand up and say, no. I mean, what would they do if more than 50% of the population of a country didn't do it? But I think the issue is that they kind of know that people will do it. That's what I'm feeling energetically. So back to my reading about the chip, you know, where I felt I could see people going for it because they're going to think, oh, that's amazing, without even thinking. Something that also came to me yesterday about social media is, in terms of it being addictive, again, people don't even think, because I can step back and just look at situations. That's what I try and do, to try and be unbiased in readings. But I see people posting, you know, tons of stuff, like all their pictures from their holiday, pictures of them out and about, pictures of them at work. What do you think's happening with those photos? Who do you think's monitoring them, gathering loads of information about you, so they know where you are, what you look like? You know, ID again. But people are basically selling their souls by doing that. They're putting everything out there. And you might think, oh yeah, it's just my friends, it's locked. Is it? Have a think about that one. Anyway, I'll leave that there, but I am going to pull some oracle messages now for the people in Australia, so maybe some guidance for you. Just see what comes through, what Spirit wants to say to you. I'm sure we will follow on other readings that will sort of link to this as well. Yeah, wow. Now look at the birds. First of all, for freedom. They want control, you want freedom. Well, you can free yourself. You are free at the moment. But if you go down that path, you say yes, what's the next gate going to be? And then the next one, then the next one, you see? So now is a crucial time. It says inspired. So yeah, what are you inspired to do? What could you do? How could you be creative? Or, you know, some people out there, light workers, what could you do? I'm just thinking about, you know, creating alternatives. You might get a spark of inspiration maybe in this reading. So if you want to be free, you can be free. I mean, I'm getting nature, obviously with the picture here. Maybe some people will go off grid. I think a lot of people are. I think in Australia, you do have people off grid, don't you? Be creative in what you do. Do you need all of that, you know, or can you go without? How addicted are you to it? We've got adventure as well, so yeah, it could be an adventure for you. It says present moment, stay in the present moment. Yeah, don't get too anxious with that Nine of Swords and fly into the future. And you've got blessings come through here as well. You are blessed. You will be blessed. If you can stay in the present moment, stay free. For example, you know, if you feel you would go without, like that card there, your guidance is you would be blessed and find a way. And that's something I said in my predictions reading. For those who are light workers and won't want to conform, there's always a way. Wow, and you've got rise. I think we'll take that as the last card. Birds again, there for freedom. It says commitment, trustworthy, reliable. So commit to something if you can that's alternative, or something, a creative idea that you have. The stag here for strength as well. Rely on yourself. You don't need to rely on, again, I don't want to make this sound like I'm swaying anyone, because I'm not. Just wanted to put that out there. But you don't need to rely on the state. We are all divine, sovereign beings. We are free. I know if I could, I'd go out and live in nature. I've often thought it. If it came to it, I would. I'd get a camper van or a tent or something. I do see that happening. Okay, now that's just suddenly coming through, especially with this card. That could be something that happens. Those communities I said that we'll need. There'll be some communities set up around the world. So, if this happens in other countries as well, which I feel it might. And they'll be independent, creative in the way they do things, in terms of how they get energy. They'll be off social media, off the net, everything. Back to the way things were. Some will do it. But unfortunately, if you're addicted to the net, to social media, then it could be tricky. Okay, I'm going to leave that there, everyone, but I think that's quite interesting in terms of what came through. It's given me some ideas in terms of how it's going to play out, because I keep seeing these little communities in my visions. You always get it, don't you? I mean, you get the sheep that all follow because they're like, oh yeah, we got to get that. Yeah, they've said we got to do it. Oh, we better do it. Really? What, they rule your life? No, they don't. The Creator, the Divine, created you. So God created you. But you basically govern your life, don't you? And the Divine. Now, it's interesting how it really went silent there when I said that before. That felt quite strange. Felt quite powerful, actually. Yeah, I feel like some people need to sort of almost like shake themselves awake, so to speak, in terms of what's going on, really. What really is social media? So, yeah, as I said, I'll leave that there. But food for thought, in terms of ideas, potentially, and I'm sure we'll see this theme continue in other readings as well. So thanks so much for being here. Please do like, share, comment and subscribe. Let me know what you think, what you feel. Are you in Australia? Are you somewhere else? For example, we're all in this together. You might get some ideas come through as well. As I said before, if you'd like to show your support and join my new Patreon, then please do. There's more guidance there that could help some of you as well. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.